There we go. Hey there, this is Ari Menard, Mr. Young for Monks of the Way, and it's a Monk Monday, and I'm here at Monster Cafe, or no, Cafe Monster, and today is talking about the restoration of the statue. That would be the one and only official statue of secular Buddhism, I think, unless there's some new organization around that's cropped up and found some funding. I appreciate everybody stopping by to say hi. I am looking. Yeah, I'm doing a stream here for on live on Facebook, also live on YouTube. So I'm doing two streams at the same time, seeing if that works. Could be that one of you has audio and the other one doesn't, and then later I can add the audio, I guess, to the one that doesn't have it if that happens. But I'm hoping that it'll work. There's streaming software. I'm figuring it all out. That's life. You figure things out as you go. So as far as the statue goes, I in edit I could show you the statue. Here, here. You might be seeing it, you might not. So, in any event, the statue you can look up on Facebook or on YouTube and see the statue and see how it's damaged. And it's a restoration thing. I'm restoring it. So I've had donation up for somewhere between a week and 2 weeks. And I think two people have donated for a total of $30. And it's going to take more, but hey, $30 is getting towards the goal. And I afforded a bottle of spray rubber. The brand is I forget. It's the one from television though. The popular television spray rubber. They have a screen door bottom of a boat and they spray it with this stuff. Flex Seal. That's what it is. And so I have a can of that to spray on the inside to give the statue some stability. And I have some gel super glue, and I have a can of white spray paint. And more than that, I suppose there's going to need to be some sort of a crack spackle or something, and some colored paints to repaint it. And I think then we might have enough to do it. So, of course, a number of different colored paints will run something, and the crack spackle. Hopefully, people will continue to donate something. The more that gets donated, the better I can fix up the statue. The better the quality of the materials I can use, and that's what it's going to be for now. And then sometime in the future, I will try to make an improved statue, so we can see how that goes someday too. But right now, we just need a statue that. Oh, also, I need to put some foam padding on the bottom and some rubber to make sure that it's harder to get damaged in the future. I have a place to put it that has room for some packing padding on the sides that I can put on there, and so when it travels in the future, it won't get damaged. That's the plan. But I don't know how much people are going to donate. So I don't know what's going to happen. I do know the way it stands now, it's at least going to be restored into a one-piece statue. And that's a start, right? I have heard all range of comments on the statue. I have heard at this tab, camera and microphone. Yeah, this tab is using your camera and microphone. So it might be that the other tab, the YouTube, is not streaming right now. And that might be the case. It might not have camera or microphone. It might have one or the other. Don't know. Technical issues, life, got to learn as you go. So, the statue. I've heard all range of comments. I've heard people saying that's great, keep going, encouragement. I've heard people say, whatever, you shouldn't even have a statue. I've heard everything in between. And I've tried to address everything and tried not to let praise or blame sway me too much and be swayed by factual content. And there have been some conversations. Mostly, I think the negative comments come from a place where that's not what people are used to. I think I think they don't understand that Monks of the Way is organization. While I'm a monk, and organization owns the statue, not me personally. And the statue is for any Buddhist, although I'm the one dragging it around. But when there's a permanent place for it, then it will be in that place. And everybody currently gets to enjoy it through video. And I hope to feature the statue prominently in the future. I'm learning how to do things, so it's all a journey, doing the best I can, trying to share what I can about what I know and share what I have with you. And different people have different achievements. And I think that's probably a topic that we should talk about in the middle of this, right? Different people having different achievements. Because one of the things that people struggle with, and I spoke with someone, what was her name? Wiley? No, Shelby. No, good golly, I can't remember her name. I believe it starts with an H. It's not, is it Heather? No, couldn't tell you. Anyway, the substance of the conversation is that sometimes it's difficult to deal with people that have issues that you've already dealt with or that have a limitation that you don't have, and not to look down on them like they're less than you. And the operative concepts are that you're not better than anybody else because you're smarter. You might not be smarter. You might think you are. That's another angle on it too. But what I'm saying is there are clever people that are pieces of shit, and there are stupid people that have a heart of gold. And so you can't really value or devalue people based on what you think their intelligence might be, their limitation. And another part of it is different people are on different parts of what they're doing. Oh boy. I didn't have the heads, so now I do. I believe we're still going good here. So let me put it this way. A person goes, well, I know this spiritual thing, and therefore I'm more evolved. And being more evolved, that means I'm better than this other person. Okay. No, no, it doesn't. And I like to put it in this way, an analogy that I made up, a parallel, is that one person figures out they need to go to the grocery store. Another person has left for the grocery store. Another person's halfway there. One person has arrived. One person's buying groceries. Another person has checked out, paid for their stuff. Another person's on their way home. Another person is all the way home. Okay, well, you can acknowledge one person has the groceries and made it all the way home. They've made their achievement. But to say one person is better than the other because they're in a different place on that journey doesn't make any damn sense. The person that's halfway there isn't as good as the person who's arrived at the grocery store. Ah, doesn't make any sense. Hopefully what I've said makes sense. In any event, going back to the statue, one good argument is, or one decent argument that I had debate is that, well, you're a monk, you shouldn't own things, just the basic necessities, and that wouldn't include a statue. Well, yeah, I don't own it, first of all. Second of all, I take care of it. So what we're talking about is basically like a temple monk taking care of the statue, and the temple wanting to get donations to fix their Buddha statue. Well, there wouldn't be anything wrong with that, certainly. And then there's other things that get brought into it. One of them is, well, you're not abiding by the teachings of Buddha because you're attached to the statue. But no, not attached to the statue. But it is part of my life practice, and I would not like to give up that part of my life practice. I think it's an integral part of the life practice. And if I get donations, I'm thinking other people believe that as well, that they're willing, at least they're willing to support the work that I'm doing. And that would be delivering content. That would be sharing the teachings of Buddha. That would be doing charity work. I do a lot of stuff because it's a calling. And I don't suppose I would ever make any money at it. I don't think I would allow that if it was a possibility. I think maybe there's a misunderstanding when it comes to attachment anyway, because one teaching a Buddha person brought up, it was Buddha saying that you can't get attached to the teaching when you've used the teaching to get across to the other side. That you don't carry the boat with you once you cross the river. Well, yeah. So he's saying don't get too attached to the teaching. You understand the concept, you've used it to do what you needed to do. Being attached to the particular teaching instead of the concept just doesn't make sense. So, Buddha's teaching one thing, and there's another teaching that has the same concept. An example of that would you being, well, no, not that other teaching, just this Buddha teaching. Well, that wouldn't make sense. You'd want to treat them equally. They have the same concept in them. Before you've understood you've achieved, you would certainly be more apt to be attached to that teaching so much that you would disregard the other teaching. Not saying that would be great, but it would be understandable. And you see that a lot with people that are of a particular path and they discount other paths simply on the basis that it's not their path. Their path must be the only path, but they haven't even given the other one a chance. So, and being a student of all paths would be pointless, I think. I think you would spend all your life just trying to get the preliminary stuff down. So, but if you wanted to cross the river, to use that example, you'd want to get across the river. That's your deal. So get across that river. Do it. But don't be putting other people down because they're different or it's a different teaching. That's just not right. I do get people that try to apply the rules of other traditions to my monk practices. And I don't have to follow the monk rules of a different tradition. I don't have to do that. I don't have to follow their rules of being ordained, their rules of living in the monastery or the temple. I don't have to follow their rules of living, which would be different than Buddha's rules. Buddha describes what a monk is and how they should live. And that makes sense. Then it's something different, the rules that you have to run a monastery. You have to understand, you've got all these guys, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever been a boss of a good number of people, but if you've been the boss of 100 or 200 people at the same time, you know that you can easily get caught up in, hey, he's touching me. No, I'm not. Yes, he is. You started it. Oh, my. You got to have rules, man. You've got to have some rules. You've got to have some rules. You've got to delegate some authority. You got to get stuff moving like that. So you have to have a list of rules that otherwise you wouldn't have. And that's how it goes. If monks are going to get along together and you're going to have it be wise and productive and good for everybody, yeah, I understand that. The statue, I hope to make the statue better than it was before. We'll see. And, someday I'll make a duplicate statue that is better. What I'll do is I'll take the statue and I will make a mold of it, and then I'll make a plaster version of that statue, and then I will recraft that statue so it has more detail and the proportions are different. Not not saying there's any flies on the artist that did the original statue. I think it's great. But I think I can do better. And why not? And after it's a finished and crafted thing, I'm sure somebody will want a copy. And, any extra dollars that are made off of selling that statue then can go towards doing more charity, more outreach. And that's a good thing. More ordaining of monks. There are several people that say they're ordaining right now. And I say it that way because it's hard to take them seriously because they're not very avid at it. They're not very dedicated. And I let them be that way. I am not going to be their taskmaster. I am not going to do that. I have so much to do already that I can't do that for them. I have to have my own practice, and I have my own outreach programs in order. And then if I have some extra, sure, I could put that into being somebody's cheerleader and being their alarm clock, their reminder calendar. But really, a monk should be into that themselves. And if a person is going to be a monk, they should already be living that life in the first place, or getting into that life. It's not something you decide one day. Hey, I'm just going to do that. It would be a process of what you're doing and what you'd be called to do. There are plenty of people that don't call themselves monk and don't have a proper practice, but they're really doing well. And, everybody doesn't have to be a monk. And it's certainly within reason that some people could go through the ordaining process and decide not to be a monk anymore. I mean, once I say okay, once they say they want to be a monk and I say yes, they're a monk. But a fully ordained monk, no. A fully ordained monk would be able to go through the teachings with somebody. And when somebody questions those teachings, they should be able to answer the questions. They should be able to explain things. And if they can't do that, then they shouldn't be fully ordained. And as a secular Buddhist monk, it's more difficult than from a tradition. A tradition can say, well, that's dogma, or Buddha says so. They can lean on some arguments that secular Buddhists just can't lean on. And I'm not saying all of them do, but it is certainly a fallback measure that's pretty common. And that's a religious fallback measure. So with secular Buddhism, it's a dogma of no dogma. So it's all up for grabs. Let's see. I don't know how to check and see if there's viewers. And I'm not even sure what some of these indicators mean. That's some kind of a control center. Don't know. I know I've been here for 22 minutes. At least I have a timer there. On the computer, I have that. On the phone, I don't. And this is on the laptop instead of the phone. That's one of the advantages of being at Monster Cafe here, is that I can run the laptop to shoot the video. And it does it in landscape instead of maybe the other one is portrait, that mode, up and down. It gives more room for background, yeah, which you might be looking at now. You might be looking at the store wall and such, or you might be looking at a fantastic Buddhist artwork. Depends on whether you're seeing this in edit or not. Well, I do appreciate you for stopping by. I guess I won't make this too awful long. Let you get about your business. If you have questions or concerns, please go ahead and let me know. If you want to talk about something that's Buddhist related or the Buddhist view on something, let me know. Talk about monkhood, want to talk about the statue, you want to make a donation, do that. PayPal or Zelle would be great. Just Monks of the Way should do it for you. Monks of the Way would do it on the group in Facebook and the YouTube channel. I think the phone number and address and everything's there. Although I wouldn't use that address, I would use a better address if you were going to worry about an address. But that address should probably still bring stuff up. I don't know. But the name and the phone number absolutely would bring stuff up. You can donate. You can enjoy the benefits of generosity at the very least. And if you don't know what the benefits of generosity are, then you could look in the teachings of Buddha. Guess what? He has stuff to say about that. Well, I want the teachings of Buddha to bless you. I want the truth to remove illusion, the way light removes darkness. And above all the time, I always want you to know that it's a great day to be alive.